Hello, and welcome to the Resource Management Overview of the NetSuite OpenAir system. My name is Hunter Parr, and throughout this recording, I'll be walking through the leading practice for resource management within the tool. Specifically, I'll be playing the role of a resource manager who's processing a series of staffing requests. I'll show how the system can give you visibility into your company's staffing needs, as well as highlight some of the features and functionalities available to help fulfill those requests. So let's jump right in. The first place I'm going to go to is my home dashboard. To do so, I'm going to click the Home button and go to the Dashboard section. Dashboards are configurable spaces that can contain a series of reports or charts that highlight either key performance indicators or other information that help facilitate users' day-to-day responsibilities. You'll notice the first portlet I have set up highlights all of the staffing needs across my company. I can see who's being requested, for which project, by whom, between what dates, for how many hours, as well as review any notes that the requester entered in order to help facilitate their staffing request. Below, I have a series of KPIs organized into charts. Things like, how am I trending against my target utilization? What's my monthly forecast looking like? So I can see, do my resources have enough work this month? Will they have enough work next month, the month after? My available FTE, which is a measure that lines up the supply of people organized by job role against the demand organized by job role in order to highlight, do I have the staff on hand to meet my commitments? A positive bar indicating that I do in fact have the resources available, a 0 or negative indicating that I'm either at capacity or overburdened for this job type and may need to look into subcontracting. This information updates in real time and is at your fingertips. But how can we translate this into an action? Well, let's start processing these staffing requests by taking the first one. So the first thing I want to do is see, hey, does Tim have availability over the time that was requested? I can do so by hovering over Tim's name and waiting for the quick menu to pop up, then navigating to the booking planner. The booking planner is a feature that visually represents all of my people's commitments, organized by type. On the left-hand side, I get detailed information such as who am I looking at, for which project are they committed, for how many hours or for what percentage of time, what role they're performing, as well as the type. On the right-hand side, I have that same data organized and displayed graphically in a much more visually pleasing way. You can see I've color-coded the commitments based off of the type, orange indicating a tentative commitment, pink indicating a request, and blue indicating a confirmed commitment. The color coding is personalizable by user or by company, and I find it works best when you use contrasting colors to highlight an action. This pink, for example, jumps out and lets the individual know that something needs to be done. For this particular example, we have a situation where the request lines up with the individual's availability. So all we simply need to do is update these types from requested to confirmed to denote that, hey, Tim can in fact work on this project. I can do so directly from the booking planner by clicking into the record and hitting edit. This will allow me to make a modification and then update the planner in real time upon hitting save. Now you may be thinking to yourself, that's great, but I don't want to have to click into each individual record to make an update. Well, luckily OpenAir has the functionality to make updates en masse. All I simply have to do is highlight the bookings that I want to adjust, click the book action button, and this will allow me to make that adjustment en masse. Once again, by making the change and hitting OK, that data updates in real time. In addition, I can tie these updates to an email notification to let the individual as well as the project manager know that their staffing has been fulfilled. Now that this is complete, let's begin processing the next one in my queue. I'll navigate back to my dashboard. I'll update this portlet to make sure that I have the most real-time data. You'll notice that Tim's request is dropped down, and now I can go to the next one for Mary. Similarly, I'm going to highlight over Mary's name and go to the booking planner to see if they have availability over this time frame. This is a situation you're much more likely to encounter. I visually can see, hey, we have some requests for Mary, but they overlap with some blue or confirmed commitments, noting that they do not have availability. So I need to search the system to figure out who can take on this work. I can do so directly from the planner as well. First step, I need to clear the filter, so I bring in all of my people, not just Mary. The next thing I want to do is look at all of my project managers. I can do so by clicking above the job code column, waiting for the text box to appear, and simply keying in what I want to search, and hitting enter. The view will update in real time to filter only my PMs. Then, all I simply have to do is scroll down to see who has availability to take on this work. First, I'm going to look at Bill, and it looks like they have some confirmed commitments. Next, I'm going to look at Beth. Now, Beth looks like she has availability, but I see that there is an overlapping commitment. However, I'm not too concerned by this because I know based off the orange color that this is just tentative versus I need this request fulfilled now. So I'm okay with swapping Mary for Beth because I know that they have availability. To do that, I'm going to again highlight the bookings that I want to modify, go to my bulk actions button, and view them within the bulk editor. Here, I'm going to swap the resource from Mary to Beth and change the booking type from requested to confirm and hit save. When the planner repopulates, you'll notice a couple of things have happened. First, the bookings have moved out of Mary's queue and her utilization has updated to something more manageable. Second, you'll notice that they've moved back to Beth's queue and have changed from tentative to confirmed. From requested to confirmed. But I still need to handle this tentative booking. I can adjust this directly in the planner, sliding it to match up with her new updated availability. When I hit save, I'm now finished making Beth's resource forecast the most accurate as possible so that next time I view the record, or if another individual does, they'll know their current commitments. I finished processing this request, so let's jump back to the dashboard and begin with the next one. The first two examples I've looked at were situations where we've had a named individual, but that may not always be the case. There could be situations where we don't necessarily know who's going to work on the job, or we don't really have a preference, and that's where generics come into play. Generic resources serve as placeholders, instances where we don't necessarily know the individual or we don't necessarily care who it is. You'll notice the next request in my queue is one of those such cases. I'm looking for a consultant for the month of May, and someone ideally with PSA experience. If I want to get some more information, I can highlight over their date, and in the quick menu, I can see quickly that it needs to be for the entire month of May for 25% of their time. Now, instead of looking at the planner, what I'm going to do is show how we can take this criteria and run a search to see what individuals match. I'm going to go to my resources module, and I'm going to hit the advanced resource search. Here, I'm going to key in that criteria. I want somebody from the month of May for 25% of their time. And then under the skills and experience tab, I'm going to denote that they need to be a consultant. And then under product knowledge, ideally have PSA experience. Then within this, I'm going to highlight the consultant as required, but I'm going to leave the product knowledge as not, as this is kind of a nice to have, as indicated by the notes. I'll run the search, and the system will cross-reference the criteria against the data in the system and display results organized by percent rating or percent matching. So in this case, we have a situation where Judy Davis met 100% of the criteria, meaning she has the availability, she has the job role, as well as the product knowledge that we need. So let's perform the swap. To do that, I'm going to go back to my dashboard. Underneath the consultant itself, I'm going to go to the planner view to view that commitment. Then via the bulk editor, I'm going to adjust the record, swapping out the consultant from Judy Davis and changing the type from requested to confirmed, and hit save. One down, and I think we got one more to go. So I'm going to go back to my dashboard. Once again, I'm going to refresh the portlet, and then I'm going to process my last kind of staffing request of the day. So just like the other ones, I'm going to highlight over Pat's name, and I'm going to go to the planner view to see if they have the availability. It looks like in this instance that Pat is pretty committed and fully booked, so they don't have the availability to take this on. Now, instead of going through one of the methods we've talked about, I'm going to talk about a third way in which we can swap out this resource. Instead of modifying them within the planner view, I'm going to navigate over to the list. The list is similar to what I had on my dashboard, where it's showing all of my requested booking types, but it has some additional functionality. Specifically, underneath this actions column, if I click this magnifying glass, I can search the system based off of job role and the criteria of the booking and see who has availability to take this on. Scrolling down, I can view the individual's name as well as their booked percentage to see if they have capacity. In this case, it looks like Rebecca does. To swap the resource, all I simply have to do is click this button here, and OpenAir will make the swap for me, substituting Pat's name for Rebecca's. Refreshing the screen, we can see that the adjustment has been made. I'm going to do this for the remaining two by simply again clicking the magnifying glass and substituting the resource. And then finally, I'm going to change these booking requests from requested to confirmed by modifying them in the bulk actions. And just like that, I've finished all of my staffing requests for the day, and I'm ready to continue on with my next task. I can confirm this by navigating once again to my home dashboard, refreshing the portlet, and seeing that nothing else is remaining in my queue. Thank you very much for staying with me throughout this video. Hopefully you found it helpful, and I'll see you next time.